probably wondering why we're comparing an E46 against a Mark 7 Golf R.
Well, the main reason is we actually have them here today, which makes it really easy to film a video on them.
That's true. But they also have very similar performance figures, except for you can get 2 of these for 1 of these.
Yeah, and this is a much better car than the Golf R.
How's it a better car?
Well, first of all, it's got more power than the Golf R. It's got 343 brake horsepower, whereas this has
296, but yours will have lost a lot over time, and this is four-wheel drive, which more than compensates for that.
It's four-wheel drive, but this is rear-wheel drive, which is more fun than four-wheel drive.
You can still power slide with this.
But you can drift the rear-wheel drive.
Okay, either way, this still has better alloys and a better interior.
I agree with the alloys, it's got really nice alloys, but the E46 has a really nice leather interior. It's Napa leather, so it's really soft and just feels great in your hands when you touch it. It's also much more spacious.
It's not more spacious, and this has a bigger boot.
Okay, I disagree with that.
Good morning, it's 6:30 AM on a Sunday, and to settle one thing, as me and Harry can't agree on anything between cars, and we're going to do legally the most realistic situation that's going to happen on the roads. So we're going to do a slip road race from 20 miles an hour to 70. So this is 380 torque. It's going to be very interesting to see the outcomes. They're going to be very close cars.
This E46 M3 has 343 brake horsepower and 365 newton meters of torque. That's roughly 15 more than the Golf, which in my mind should make this a fairly easy race, but I guess we'll find out.
Right, set, go!
Oh, Harry's got the good start. There's a bit of a turbo lag there. The Golf's catching up, but that's 70. So that was interesting. Because of the turbo lag of this, Harry got one hell of a start. He was a whole car length ahead before this car really applied all its power. But once it applied its power, every time Harry changed gear, this got a bit of a catch up because of the DSG. And actually towards the end, the Golf was pulling back a little bit, which is interesting.
It was a fairly close race in the end, which wasn't what I was expecting. The E46 M3 won by about half a car length, which, I'll be honest, I was expecting a lot more considering the power differences.
Yeah, he's going to be happy about that and have an annoying smug face on. Now we know which car is faster down a slip road after an unfair test.
Why was it unfair?
Okay, it wasn't unfair. I still feel like the Golf is a better car to drive, so we're going to compare the two.
Yeah, I think this will be way better to drive.
We'll see. Oh, that suspension is holding well. Yeah. That's what that suspension is good for.
At 8,000 RPM.
8,000. Okay, that's not. This car also feels like it has a bit more character. You just need to think about controlling a little bit more, which some people might prefer.
The best and worst thing is the suspension. When you want to have fun, the suspension's great because it makes you feel like you're going faster than you are.
Just like roads like this, it just
roads like this, it just doesn't suit them.
Oh yeah, sorry, for an old car this is quite good because it still has air conditioning and stuff. Yeah. Entertainment system on the Golf will be a little better because it's newer.
Yeah, it is way better.
I'm warming to your car.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'm not saying it's better than the Golf because I still think the Golf is better.
You can tell the suspension's softer, but the seats are actually firmer in this. Yeah. I also like how well they hold you in compared to the M3. Like these are actually, I can't move a lot, whereas the M3 it curves a bit and it's leather, so it's slippery as well.
Yeah.
And the brakes are so good in this car.
Put it in race mode or even or sport, either one, and you can pinpoint exactly where you want the car to go and it will follow that track exactly. It's fantastic. I love that about this car. I think that's its number one thing.
It's the adjustability.
It turns it basically from a Golf with
a bit more power,
yeah, to a different machine.
I just think this car is one of the best all-rounders there is, really. I do think the M3 is still a better car, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, because the Golf feels like it has so much grip and it's just so planted.
Exactly.
Whereas the M3 is actually fun. Like it'll slide a little bit to let you know you're close to the edge, whereas this doesn't really do that. I don't know what it'll do when you get to the edge.
This car gives me something which your M3 wouldn't, which is control.
Yeah.
So it allows me to control the car easily and drive it reasonably quickly. And the traction control is much better than in your M3, where yours requires a lot of control, which is good for someone who wants to have control. But for someone like me, this car definitely suits. So we've managed to get insurance for me on Harry's car. See which one I prefer the driving feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Golf's going to win, so it's fine. Steering's heavy.
The M3 is more of an event. Like, it feels more special when you drive it quickly.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I feel like I'm putting effort into it. I'm getting more on the road. Losing a factor in this car because of the traction control, because it's old.
Yeah.
I feel
yeah, like it just cut then. Instead of like reducing the power, it just cut it for a second.
Exactly.
Keep going, 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 keep going.
Whoa! Okay, now I see where the fun in this is.
Right, so driving feel, what do you think's better?
To like sum up almost. Precision of this, not quite as good as the Golf, but you feel more connected with the road. The Golf has better braking and it feels like it's better cornering, but if you know how to control this car and you're a good driver, this will feel more fun, especially with the engine noise.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this is Cara, and Cara will be our passenger today to help decide which car is more fun to be in.
Hey guys. I will say for an old car, I didn't expect it to keep so much of its power. And it corners pretty well.
Right, test out the brakes now.
Whoa. Oh my god.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
This will blow your... Okay, it won't blow your mind. I'm hoping you'll feel as good as Harry's.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start nice and slow, and then... There we go. I know that feel.
Oh, that was actually way quicker than Harry's car.
Really?
Yeah, like that already threw my head back. Okay, this car feels less dramatic when it's going quick.
So what you're saying is that Harry's feels more aggressive than this?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to use launch control. It'll make sure that you now think that this car's better than Harry's.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Excited. Whoa! Oh my god.
Right, okay, so this car doesn't have launch control, but we can see what it can do anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, ready? Okay, let's give this a go. Is that fun?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, now you've been in both cars.
Yeah.
Which would you say is more comfortable and which one's more fun to be in?
Okay, that's an easy answer. This one's definitely more comfortable. The suspension is just really smooth.
Yeah.
But Harry's is way more fun.
What about the launch control in this?
Okay, that really brought this car back into the runnings,
Okay.
but you know, I mean, it was better than whatever the hell Harry did, but Harry's car is just more dramatic. It throws you around. It's definitely more fun.
Oh, but this is still good fun to be in. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's just a comparison.
In that case, we just won't tell Harry.
Just don't mention it.
Exactly. So the next question is, which car looks better? The classic M3 or the aggressive Golf R?
See, personally, I think the Golf R is actually a better looking car because it
Yeah.
doesn't look aggressive.
What do you mean, Harry? Yes, it looks aggressive. First of all, silver wing mirrors.
Right.
Second of all, stripes across here, which are silver lined, and same here. Admittedly, the Golf R badge, which is rather small, is rather understated, and they do a Golf R line, which looks the exact same, but it has a little R line. But
That's literally
So-
my point. This is just a Golf, but it's got some silver pieces rather than what would normally be black or plastic. Whereas this it's got a bonnet bulge, it's got a nice bumper, and it's got wider arches. Whereas that's understated. I like the fact that it just looks like a Golf.
I see what you mean, actually. It's almost as if the BMW had the silver pieces, it would be perfect, actually. And if this had a slightly different body kit, it would also be perfect.
So now at the back of the cars, personally, I prefer the E46 M3. This because when you compare it to the Golf, it's quite a low car stock, and this one's been lowered by 20 mil on top of the stock height, which makes it significantly lower than the Golf R. It's also a coupe, which means it's got a nice sloping back, whereas this is quite big and boxy, and it just looks obviously like a Golf. What's your opinion?
Okay, I agree with you. The E46 M3 back is probably one of my favourite M3 backs of all time, actually. However, down points. Though it's got 4 exhausts like the Golf, the Golf's ones are nice and shiny, which means they stand out a bit more. Yours, they are chrome, but they don't really stand out quite as much. The lights in this car, especially here, are fantastic. They're not very many cars, to be honest, which have better lights than this on the back.
No, it looks really good when you're following it, and like your brake lights are really nice, whereas this, they're quite bug-eye design.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, overall, I have a slight preference for this, but I mean, I love this, and I think if it had a slightly bigger spoiler, I might actually prefer this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Now we're going to compare the sound between the two cars. Sadly, I think the M3 has a bit of an edge on the Golf.
Yeah, well, that's a 6-cylinder and this is a 4-cylinder, so...
Yeah, and I love to defend the Golf, but it only revs up to 4,000 RPM while in parked or neutral while not moving. So I think that was quite obvious. You guys can make the decision for yourself, but I think there's a clear winner. Although actually the Golf sounded a bit better on start than I thought it would.
Yeah, it did, but still overall the M3 was much nicer.
I love to argue with you, but yeah, I completely agree. In summary, I hate to say this, considering throughout the whole video I've said that the Golf's gonna win, but the M3 is just a more fun car.
Okay, so first of all, I agree with you, but what makes you think that?
Well, it has a straight six, which sounds better, has no turbo lag. The steering just makes you feel more connected with the road, and entwined with the fact that it's rear wheel drive, just gives the car a bit more character and excitement as a result.
So it sounds to me like you actually prefer the M3 now to the Golf R.
No, don't get me wrong, I prefer the Golf. It's four-wheel drive, it has launch control, and the steering's really direct, more so than this. Also, traction control. Both can have their traction control on and off, but this has another mode which is restricted, which allows a bit of wheel spin, which allows you to go a little bit faster, but the computers will also ensure that you don't crash out if you push the car too far. Well, on this, it has an old traction control system, which means when there's any wheel spin, it cuts the power completely, which isn't fun. So you have to have it off, and while pushing the car limits, I would crash it if the traction control was off, because I'm just not that great a driver. What about you? Are you starting to lean towards the Golf?
So I still prefer the E46 M3 to the Golf R. However, I do actually think that the Golf R is a better all-round car.
Yes!
There's not much that it does better than the M3, but it's much more practical. It's a hatchback and it's a bit smaller, so day-to-day use would just be a lot easier than this. However, the M3 is still a lot more fun, it's a lot more exciting, it sounds better, it just suits my driving style as well, personally.
That's quite good. So after driving both cars, we've kind of mixed in a bit better and realised that we actually like the other cars too.
I'd agree with that. I do really like the Golf R now.
Good. So we could all, after what we both said, we can almost agree that this is a better performance car for a practical person, and this is just a more exciting performance car.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Both great cars, but yeah.
Yeah, they have their own individual advantages. Oh yes, we finally agreed on something, considering at the beginning we didn't agree on anything. Right, well I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe and like the video. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.